Star Wars Hunters has now been out for almost 2 months, which means that after a couple of years on playing on mobile, I've now been able to put some significant time into playing it on the Nintendo Switch. And over these last few weeks there's been a lot of debate around what the better platform is to play on out of mobile and Switch, and one of the most popular videos on the channel for Star Wars Hunters for me is my gameplay comparison between a Switch and mobile gameplay. So I kind of wanted to touch on all of this in today's video, but before I do get into it, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with the notification bell turned on so that you don't miss out on a single piece of Star Wars Hunters content. So straight away, I think that mobile gameplay for Star Wars Hunters is objectively better. On mobile, you get to play the game at 60 frames per second, and visually it just looks a lot better in my opinion. Whereas the Nintendo Switch is 30 frames per second, and whilst it still does look good, it doesn't look as good as it does on mobile. And you just need to look at that comparison video I posted to know that. So straight away, mobile is better in terms of performance and visuals than a Nintendo Switch, but a Switch for me is my preferred method of playing, mostly because I actually get to play the game on a big screen. Sure, there probably are ways to get mobile gaming on a bigger screen, but I feel like for me to be able to do that with my iPhone, there'd be quite a lot of weird workarounds, and it may not necessarily be the best anyway. Whereas I know that with my Nintendo Switch, I can just plug it in and then just dock it into its TV docking station, and it will work absolutely seamlessly without any weird glitches or any trouble whatsoever. So despite it not necessarily looking as good and playing it at 30 frames per second, I've now been able to play the game on my big monitor, so I've been very happy with that, because it honestly takes me back to being able to play a Star Wars multiplayer game on console, which is just a really good experience. And from a content creation perspective, it does make things so much easier. Instead of having to record my gameplay footage on mobile and upload it to a drive and whatnot, I can now actually use my game capture card and just record the gameplay seamlessly through that, which is awesome and just speeds up the process 10 times more. So that has definitely been a really useful and positive thing for me, which is something I appreciate not many of you will be able to fully appreciate. But if you're in the content creation space, then you'll fully understand and appreciate what I'm going on about. Moving on to talk a bit more about the gameplay. On mobile, you of course have touch controls and you can connect your controller to it as well. On the Switch, you have obviously controller use, and there is also gyro, but I don't really know anything about that, so I'm going to ignore it for now. So I would definitely say that mobile has better options. If you don't have a Nintendo Switch, but you do have a controller somewhere, whether it's PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series S or X, or even some sort of third-party controller, as long as you can connect it to your phone, you'll very likely be able to use it in Star Wars Hunters to play with a controller, which is definitely a lot of fun, and I would recommend giving it a go, because it can definitely change the way you play the game. If you're using touch controls with auto fire turned on, that is definitely a very good way to play, especially as Diago. I've seen some videos with his ultimate on auto fire, which is just ridiculous. But I feel in terms of the gameplay side of things, whether one's better than the other, it really does just come down to personal preference. You can use controllers on both mobile and Switch, as I've just said, so it ultimately comes down to whether or not you want 30 FPS and a bigger screen, or 60 FPS and a smaller screen, because both are honestly just as good as the other. Personally, I do prefer using the Switch because it's just a bit more of a proper console experience, whereas mobile is just looking at a small screen for me. So mobile is more something I'd probably look to play on the go using mobile data, because if I am at home, then I honestly have no reason not to play it on a big screen. And like I said, having it on the Switch on a big screen does make it so much easier for content creation purposes, because something I didn't touch on earlier was regarding streaming. If I was using my mobile, then streaming would be a lot more difficult, and that is something I absolutely love to do. So to summarize, mobile gameplay for Star Wars Hunters I think is objectively better. There's absolutely no denying that, but personally I do prefer using the Nintendo Switch for many reasons, despite its lack of performance and visuals compared to my phone. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you've been playing the game on the Nintendo Switch or playing the game on your mobile device. Both are perfectly good platforms to be able to play this game on, and I certainly don't think it's worth getting into any heated debates or arguments about it, because it does ultimately come down to personal preference. So whichever way you've been playing Star Wars Hunters, I hope you have been enjoying it, and as long as you are enjoying it, that is perfectly valid. But that is it from me today. Let me know what platform you've been playing this game on in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the force be with you always.